Friends, I welcome you all to our today's discussion. Previous session, we are discussing about professional skepticism, some concept we had discussed. And prior to that, we had discussed about threats to the independence of auditor. As you are aware of that when auditor conducts an audit, one important element is essential, that he should have independence. You might have observed, you might have seen some audit report. It is clearly written in the title, independent auditor's opinion, independent audit report. Okay, so that is essential in an audit assignment. Auditor has to maintain independence, as you know. Not only he should be independent, he also should appear to be independent. And of course, there are certain threats to auditor's independence. And there are also mechanisms to overcome those threats. All these things were discussed in your earlier session. Today, we will be learning some more concepts which are relevant to the practice of audit. What the things which needs to be taken care of when auditing exercise is done. For example, three things we plan to cover today. First of all, how an auditing assignment is to be accepted and how that is to be continued. Certain minimum things we need to learn on that. Then we'll be learning about how HR management, how human resources is to maintain managed in an auditing firm, and how the audit process is to be monitored. We first learn these three things. Okay, you know, many times what happens, not many times, sometimes auditing is a continuous engagement. And continuous engagement means 1 year's financial statement audited. Next year, again, auditor may be reappointed to be the auditor. Auditor may continue to be the auditor. There are some restrictions under Companies Act. We'll be learning at appropriate time when you'll be learning the audit under Companies Act. You'll see that there is a limit up to which an auditor can continue to hold the position of an auditor. Okay, just at this stage, let me just tell you this thing. So a single auditor, let us say a single chartered accountant or individual chartered accountant can continue with the auditor for a period of 5 years. And a firm of auditor can continue for a period of maximum for 10 years. So these kind of restrictions are there subject to some conditions. We'll be learning that thing at appropriate time. But even if within 5 years, or in a period of 5 years, auditor continues to be the auditor for a continuous period of 5 years, let us assume. So year after year, he has to continue as the auditor. So what steps he needs to take care of how that is to be handled, we are going to discuss today. Okay. Now, some aspects are dealt with our SQC1, that is SQC1, as you are aware of. Earlier, we had discussed. SQC stands for, can anyone tell me? This is for Standards and Quality Control. So it requires that the firm to obtain information before accepting the audit engagement. Suppose you will be given this assignment to audit a company. We are expected to obtain some minimum information. On that basis, you should first of all decide whether to accept that auditor. Not that just that you got an offer to be appointed as auditor, you should accept. It should not be like that. You should first obtain some basic information. Information such as some examples, as you can see in the screen, or some situations you have received, like integrity of principal owners, like this. Some here you can see. So we need information on these areas so that one can decide, or we can decide whether to accept or not. Okay, this type of engagement will assist the engagement partner in deciding whether the decision regarding the acceptance and continuance of audit engagements are appropriate or not. Okay, let us say audit engagement partner has taken a decision to accept an, or you may say engagement partner may take a decision to reject them, not to accept. Now, point is that whether in the given situation, that decision which is taken by engagement partner is appropriate or not. How one can know? For that thing, one needs information. That information has to be collected prior to commencement of audit. Understood? For you think of something. Suppose you are eligible to become an auditor of a company, right? And you are appointed. Let's say offer letter has come to you. to be the auditor. Invitation has come to you to become the auditor. Would you accept it just like that, or would you like to check something? Would you like to collect some information regarding the company?
So it will try to know the company better, then only it will go for it.
Now you think, is there anything coming to your mind that what information you'll be looking for? Any company you may think of. Can you think of that this information first I'll check?
So what like actually they're dealing with, like this will be the basic thing, because
so you want to understand, you would like to understand the company, that what is the business?
Yes.
What is the business? Okay, then good. Point is valid. You need to understand the business, because ultimately the business transactions are going to be reflected in the financial statement. So understanding business is necessary. And if the business is something which is very tricky, and in case you feel you are not eligible, you feel that, or you are not confident that you will be able to complete the audit, then better not to accept. Okay, suppose it is something like that. The business is some system related business, and to conduct audit and to understand this transaction, you need to be a system auditor. You should have expertise on the computer system. Suppose someone is not having that, then appropriate decision will be not to conduct audit. Or let us say some business is something like international transactions. Okay, and someone is not aware of that kind of transaction, then the appropriate decision would be not to accept that audit. So one has to check. Understanding business also helps to understanding or assessing your own competence, whether you are capable of doing it or not. Then what else, what other type of information you feel that these are necessary? Can you think something a little beyond that? Little beyond this point?
So we'll check the report like before, if anyone have taken the like auditorship or not, if done, like what are the list opinion or the notes like it is mentioned.
Oh, so your point is that you'd also like to check the previous reports if you have.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so like this. Okay, good that you are thinking in right direction. That point here is that straightway we should not accept. Auditing is not a very easy thing. It's a risky thing, and also it's a complex thing. And already you are aware of so many aspects has to be covered. Okay, if so many aspects has to be covered in the auditing, we know that means each and every aspect has to be covered. So one should have competence to verify or check those transactions of those balances. Okay, yes, Sivasis, what is your point?
Sir, can't an auditor, sir, audit all types of companies, sir? Any types of company that is
Auditor,
given to him?
you see, qualification wise, one is eligible to conduct any kind of. Okay, because companies are, if you see, company X says a chartered accountant is eligible to the audit of a company. Okay, but that doesn't mean that each and every chartered accountant is eligible to or will be able to conduct audit of any kind of company. Okay, for example, let us say there is a bank which is only doing some forex operation, some treasury management kind of thing, and a person is not competent enough to understand that transaction, then he should not do that kind of. Okay, so being a chartered accountant is the minimum qualification, but beyond that, it's an expertise and experience which will, in fact, which is, you can say, one more criteria to assess your competence. Understood?
Sir, one more question.
Yes,
Sir,
please.
if a auditor takes on an audit for a company, sir, and in between he doesn't find himself suitable for that.
Okay.
So then what will be the procedure after that?
On some valid ground, he may resign. That resignation process also will be learning. He may resign. If he feels that he is unable to complete the audit, then he may resign.
Okay, sir.
Right, friends? Now you see.
So, excuse me, sir.
Yes, please, Natil.
So with the Shivashi's question, I just want to ask, like in case like that person like unable to handle it, alone, can they go for that like group auditing? Like they can take the help of any other company, even like.
You see, audit assignment is given to a particular firm or a particular auditor. He is supposed to complete it. He is not supposed to outsource it to someone else. Okay, that is unethical, that is forbidden. But in the process of auditing, you will require some expertise help, some experts help. Okay, suppose, let us assume, suppose I am conducting an audit of a entity, and I feel there is one area, let us say something employee benefit, actuarial valuation, I am not comfortable. So I do not know how to do actuarial valuation. So in that case, I may take an expert's advice. Okay, I may rely on that expert by giving disclosure in my audit report that for this thing I have relied on that expert, because I am not an expert on actuary valuation. For that aspect, I have relied. So similarly, one can take experts' help in some relevant areas. Okay, but the entire auditing assignment cannot be outsourced. Is it clear to you?
Yes, sir.
Many times what happens, you can see the large audits, I will be showing you some examples also. You can see the bank's financial statement also. You can report to any bank's financial statement. You can download the State Bank of India's financial statement. I think the State Bank of India, there are at least 8 auditors. It's a joint audit. So work is distributed among them because volume is so that one auditor may not be able to complete. Okay, some other banks, you can feel around 6 auditors are there. Are you getting it? If you see their financial statement, you will see below that 8 auditors have signed and somewhere 6 auditors have signed. So assignment is distributed among them. Okay, inappropriately. In the audit program, they have designed that 8 auditors will be responsible for this. But that is one thing. In case of large assignment, that can be distributed among them. But one auditor cannot outsource. Suppose my audit firm has accepted an audit, but tomorrow I feel that I am not good at concurrent audit, some kind of specific audit. So can I outsource? Answer is no. You cannot do. You can resign. Is it clear to you?
Yes, sir.
Okay, friends. Now you see. This is what we're discussing. So these are some information which is required. And this information will assist the engagement partner in determining whether the decision to accept or continuance is appropriate or not. For example of this information is that integrity of the principal owners, key management people, and those who are charged with governance of the entity. Do they have integrity? Do they conduct the business in an integrated manner? If that is doubtful, then the appropriate decision should be not to accept the audit assignment. Right. So one should try to assess what kind of people are involved in that business. The second thing is that whether my engagement team is competent to perform the audit. That's what we are discussing. So when audit has to be conducted, one team of people will involve. The team is referred to as engagement team. Okay. And the partner who is engaged for that assignment can be referred to as engagement partner. So I need to assess the competence of my team. The team I am having, whether they are competent to perform the audit engagement. Do they have necessary capabilities? And even if they have capabilities, do they have time and resources? So only if all these things are there, then you can say the team is competent, one can accept. Okay, suppose team is competent, but resources are not there. Resources are not there means, suppose the transaction is so voluminous that you feel manually one cannot verify all these transactions. This can be verified only through a software, through a system. And you do not have resources in the sense you do not have that software. And you do not want to acquire that also. So in this case, you can say that the team is incompetent to conduct the audit. So appropriate decision will be not to accept that audit. Okay. Now, friends, next point is that information whether the farm and engagement team can comply with relevant ethical requirements. So the auditors are supposed to follow their code of ethics. By accepting the audit, whether they'll be able to violate, whether are they going to violate some of the ethical requirements. For example, you see, suppose a company has given me an offer to be appointed as an auditor. Okay, so ethics, code of ethics says, so first of all, I should ask the retiring auditor who is going to leave, or you can say outgoing auditor, whether he has any objection to my appointment or not. Right? And if he writes something to me, then I have to consider that he has no, let us say, he doesn't have any objection to my appointment. Right? Are you getting? Yes or no? So if, let us say, the retiring auditor has objected, and still I have accepted, that means what? That means you have not complied with code of ethics. Yes or no? Yes or no? Are you getting the point?
Yes.
Okay, so that is an example that you have to ensure. This point says you have to ensure that whether the farmer engagement team can comply with the relevant ethical requirements. If they can comply, then one can. Okay, so I can show you some examples now. Let me try to show you some examples. Just a minute. Okay, I have to. Just a minute. Let me check my mail so that if some correspondence regarding that will be there, I'll be able to show you so that you can feel how you can you can really see that how it is done. Just give me a moment. Yeah, I am able to find a mail. You can understand how things needs to become uh, uh, ethically compliant. Oh, you can now see the mail screen. Okay, so are you able to see?
Yes, yes.
Box of a particular mail I'm opening for something. Okay, now you see. Oh, you see, this is a communication to the previous auditor. This is to inform you that we have been requested to be appointed as the statutory auditor of a company. We note from the record that you are the retiring statutory auditor of the said company. Before accepting the audit, we request you to let us know if you have any professional objection to your acceptance to our audit. A copy of the communication attached herewith in PDF format for your documentation purpose. So, since this was issued in COVID time, practically letter was not sent. So, a letter in PDF was attached to them. In this letter, actually, it has been requested. I will show you the letter, that if you have any objection, then let us know. And finally, we got a reply. Reply, should I let me show you that? Are you able to see the reply? No? Yes or no?
No, sir.
No, sir.
So once again, I will be sharing when I downloaded. It's not with you. Okay. So after that, in response to that, now you're able to see. No, we got a reply. Let us say. Okay, we got a reply that no objection certificate. We have received your letter emailed on this date, and glad to know that your firm has been appointed as statutory auditor of so and so. We have no professional objection. Are you seeing it? We have no professional objections. So this is the ethical requirement. So let us say the retiring auditor says we have professional objections. The firm is removing us because we have raised some issue and firm didn't accept that issue. Or we wanted to issue a qualified opinion, or wanted to give an opinion that the financial statement doesn't show true and fair view. That's why firm is appointing. In that case, should I accept the audit?
No, sir.
No. Okay. So this is what, if you accept the audit, then I'm not following the ethical requirement. Ethical requirement is that ethically I should have asked that person. Okay, he was the auditor. Why he is removed? Not removed, why he is resigning? There might be some point. Either removed or resigned. Okay, understood the situation? So practically, all these things has to happen. So farm and engagement team can comply with the relevant ethical requirement. If for some reason I'm unable to comply, then my appropriate decision will be not to accept that. There are significant matters that have arisen during the current and previous audit engagement. That's right. When I asked that question, some of you said that I will see the previous reports. Why previous reports? Because through that you'll be able to find out some significant matters which have arisen during current and previous audit engagement, and their implication for continuing their relationship, and whether it has any implication in the client auditor's relationship. So that all these factors needs to be assessed. After that, only engagement partner needs to decide whether to accept the auditor. Did you understand the situation? Okay. Who is an engagement partner? Just for your reference or for understanding, you can read this paragraph. Engagement partner refers to the partner or other person in the firm who is responsible for the audit engagement and its performance, and for the auditor's report that is issued on behalf of the firm, and who, where required, has the appropriate authority from professional, legal, or regulatory body. So you can say a firm of auditors may have various partners, but who is responsible for a particular audit engagement and for issuing the audit report, and which authorized to issue that audit report can be referred to as engagement partner. Okay, and before accepting the audit, engagement partners should verify whether it is appropriate to accept that audit or not. Okay, understood? Then again, engagement partners shall be satisfied that the appropriate procedure regarding acceptance and continuance of client relation has been followed on. So this is what I showed you, that writing a letter and obtaining no objection certificate is the appropriate procedure. So engagement partner has to ensure whether this procedure has been followed or not. And in case the engagement partner obtains information that would have caused the firm to decline the audit engagement, had the information be available earlier, then what should be done? That means here we are talking about, suppose engagement partner has taken a decision and accepted the audit. Later on, one information comes to the engagement partner, comes to the knowledge of the engagement partner. And the information is of such nature that had that information, okay, been made available to the engagement partner, then he would have declined the audit. But now he has already accepted it. Now question comes, what he is supposed to do? Engagement partner shall communicate it promptly to the firm so that firm or engagement partner can take necessary action. That means he will not independently take a decision. He will communicate it to the firm. Okay, so this is, you see, one more example where a letter is written for no objection certificate again, okay, to a firm, and the firm has also given a no objection letter. Okay, so this is a normal practice to comply with ethical requirements. Understood? So now one thing we concluded, that blindly, just like that, one should not accept the audit. He has to check, or the concerned engagement partner needs to check whether ethical requirements are complied with or not. He has to check with the information about the integrity of the people who are involved. Right. So, and also he has to check whether his team is capable or competent to handle the audit or not. Then only he should accept the audit. He should take appropriate decision. Okay, friends. Now, next concept, it's again a basic concept about human resource management in an audit firm or in the audit situation. And you know, most of the audits are conducted by team. Various people are involved. But finally, a report has to be summarized. That means observation collected from different people has to be summarized. Suppose you see you are the team of 20 people. Let us say you will be engaged in an audit. How that can be managed? First of all, depending upon the competence of people, work needs to be allocated to them. Okay, and there has to be a process that how this observation can be summarized, can be collected, okay, filtered, summarized, and the effect of this observation on the auditor's opinion has to be considered. Okay, finally, those observations can be incorporated in audit report. Now I gave you example of audit of State Bank of India. I told you 8 auditors are involved, minimum. Plus thousands of auditors are involved, why thousands? Lakhs of auditors are involved for each branch audit. But finally, all their observations are consolidated, filtered, summarized, and only one audit report is issued. How many people are involved in this auditing process? Imagine. Each branch there is an auditor. Not only auditor, there might be multiple auditors also. Okay, there's statutory auditor, revenue auditor, internal auditor, concurrent auditor, system auditor, forensic auditor. So many auditors are there. They're issuing reports. And finally, one branch statutory auditor is there, who is considering everything. Then the branch statutory auditor sends the report at journal level, they get consolidated. Okay, then finally, at the central office level, all they gets consolidated. And centrally, there are, let us say, 8 auditors. Can you imagine? What is the size of volume of people involved in this auditing of a particular company, particular entity? So even for a small company, there will be a team, maybe single audit team, maybe different team. If the company has branches, different people might be going to different places. So it is essential to manage those human resources. Okay, HR management of a firm. So that concept, let us discuss very briefly. It's a very big concept, but we are discussing it very briefly to the extent it is relevant for our subject. So the audit firm should have an established policies and procedures. Okay. So there should be some human resource policies and the procedures for conducting it. And it should definitely have sufficient number of personnel with capabilities, competence, commitment. Okay. Okay, this because all these things are necessary to professionally handle auditing situation. And when a policy like this is developed, that policy should cover these areas, like how human resources can be recruited, how they will be evaluated, but how their capabilities needs to be maintained, how to ensure that the team is competent, and career development of the team members. Okay, promotion aspects, compensation aspect, estimation of their personal needs. All these things needs to be considered for developing a human resource policy or procedures for a firm. This is what I'm showing you an example of a, you can say structure, or you can say staff coordination, how things are coordinated. Suppose if this is a particular audit, as you can see, finally one report will be given, yes or no? Okay, and you see there are 4 groups, you can say 4 big teams who are handling the different aspects. Each team has got members, then there are sub teams also. Finally, these many people will be working, then they will be reporting in a particular area, who will be reporting to another person, who will be finally reporting to some group heads, and finally report will go to the engagement part. If you look at this team, you can understand that at least 20-25 people are involved. Is it not? But how to organize that? That has to be organized through a coordination chart like this. Are you getting me? Okay, you have accepted that. Now work has to be handled. You need to ensure that the various activities of auditing are coordinated properly. Okay, so someone is, let us say, auditing the data aspect, someone is auditing the creditors, someone is auditing the revenue, someone is auditing the expenses, or those related things is verifying. So their observation has to come, they has to be consolidated, summarized. After that only, it will be considered whether they have an impact on the auditor's opinion or not. But this kind of coordination chart may be necessary. Okay. Did you understand?
Yes, sir.
And the firm, when it is developing the policy and procedure, he has to see that it is developed in accordance with the professional standards and keeping in view the regulatory and legal requirements. And there should be consistency in this kind of policies. That means it should not change frequently. Okay, and this is many times many firms may have their own written or electronic electronic manuals. There's HR manual which addresses these issues, right? How engagement teams will be briefed in an auditing engagement. How that means how the engagement partner will be explaining them about the auditing situation. Process of complying with applicable engagement standards. How, let us say, auditing standards or accounting standards will be complied with, and other relevant standards will be complied with. Okay, how their work will be supervised, how their work will be reviewed, what kind of documentation has to be done. So all these things should form a part of this manuals. Okay. Right, friends. Now we'll be covering one more aspect, that is how audit is to be monitoring of. As we are discussing right now, there may be established policies and procedures to manage an audit. Okay, and this policy and procedures should take into consideration the practical situations, should take into consideration the business of an entity, and also the quality control standards, auditing standards. All these things has to be considered. On that basis, this policy and procedure should have been developed. Okay. The purpose of monitoring compliances with quality control policies and procedure is to provide an evaluation of, first one, adherence to the professional standards, regulatory and legal requirements. That means through these established policies, one can ensure that the professional standards, regulatory requirements, and legal requirements are complied with. How it is possible? For example, one can have a checklist kind of thing. Let us say the policy says, or past policy says, if you are conducting an audit, you have to comply with this checklist. Okay. There might be checklist as regards to compliance of accounting standards. There might be checklist as regards to compliance with, let us say, auditing standards, or there might be checklist as regards to compliance of other legal requirements. Okay, if those checklist items are complied with, that means automatically these issues, legal requirements, your professional standard issues are taken care of. Is it done? Okay. Are you getting me?
Yes, sir.
That's what I'm saying, that professional standards, regulatory and legal requirements needs to be complied with, and whether the quality control system has been appropriately designed, whether the firm's quality control policies and procedures have been appropriately applied, and whether appropriate follow-up decisions has been taken. Okay, that means if something needs to be modified, whether that modification has been done properly or not. Okay, so all these things need to be evaluated. When you talk about monitoring the things, means all this aspect has to be taken care of. Okay, this is what I'm showing you right now. It's an example of an audit program. I told you how to ensure that everything is complied with. Okay, for that thing, that is most of the cases is done through audit program. As you can see, in audit program, what happens? Various items are there, or we can see various items is to be covered. Various aspects has to be looked into. When that aspect is to be looked into, what are the areas to be covered? What will the extent of checking? What is the methodology to be followed? Who will be doing it? Who is initial? Who will be doing it? He has to put his initial. who will be reviewing it, and finally how this uh, this papers will be documented, in which file it has to be kept. All these things are there in this checklist called as audit program. Are you seeing it? Okay, let me show you a practical program now. Just give me a moment. Let me search it. One second, please. Two things. I'll show you an audit program, then I'm also showing an audit checklist first of all. Are you able to see an audit checklist?
No, sir.
No.
I haven't shared this.
No, okay, just a minute. So observe it very carefully. Yeah, now you are seeing an audit checklist. How things can be monitored. Okay, you see various checklists are there, various items how to check. Let's say this is index acceptance checklist. Okay, that means it is a checklist for accepting an audit. We have to see that these things are okay, then only audit is to be compliant. Continuance checklist. Let us say audit is to continue. So some items are listed. Gradually you'll be knowing what are these items. If everything is okay, then audit will be done. Let us say continue. Consent letter. So after client may give you, or prospective client may give you an invitation to be appointed or give you a proposal, then auditor is supposed to give a consent letter. Auditor is supposed to give a engagement letter explaining the various terms of the audit engagement. Then NOC needs to be obtained, no objection certificate. Then understanding the client's business. Risk measurement is one process. Audit planning, how it is to be done. Then various items, that is a fixed assets, how it is to be checked. Okay. Then you see register, fixed asset register, how it is to be checked. Okay. Then various aspects, one by one, you can see so many pages are there. Each item, how it is to check. Are you seeing the bottom portion? How many sheets are there? Okay, these are the checklist of various. Now, through this checklist, one will try to, or the auditor tries to monitor the things. And this checklist ensures that all the statutory requirements and standards, compliance of the standards are taken care of. Suppose I feel that I will check that whether this financial statement, this balance sheet has been prepared in the Schedule 6 for Schedule 3 format or not. Then I need to have a checklist. These are the items to test. Understood? Similarly, as an auditor, if you want to verify that whether the closing stocks or the inventory is valued as cost or NRP, whichever is lower or not, then you need to have that point in the checklist. Through that thing only, you'll be able to monitor. Did you understand it? Yes or no?
Yes.
Now I think all of you have got an idea that how technically you have to conduct an audit. Now, yeah, I was thinking to show you one audit program, practical program. Just give me one more minute. Yeah. I got so many programs, but let me show you this one right now. Yes, you see. Purposefully, I have tried to hide the company's name and other things. You see, these are the various areas to be covered in an audit. Areas means each items of the financial statement has to be covered, starting from opening balance, bank, all these things. Right? Are you seeing it clearly? And what is the extent of checking? Sometimes it might be 100%, sometimes it may be test check, sometimes it may be 20%. That auditor has to decide. And what is the objective of this? And what is the methodology? How it has to be decided? Let us remember opening balance check. Objective is to ensure arithmetical accuracy. That means correct figure has been incorporated. How you do it? Compare opening and closing trial balance. Who will be doing it? He has to put his signature. Who will be reviewing it? He has to put his signature. Okay, then over. Finally, document. We have to open a file where this document has to be kept. That opening balance was checked. Similarly, if you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, you see all the aspects are covered. Are you seeing it? Let us say capitalization. One has to check that whether expenses are capitalized or not. So this is the area has to be checked 100%. Obtain the list of capitalization done during the period. Review the same like this. This is the explanation how it is to be done. How fixed asset register is to be checked. This methodology of checking is explained here. Okay, project. You see various areas, almost all the areas of financial statement, how this is to be checked are there in the auditor's audit program. Again, for different areas, different programs can be done. Okay. Got a fair idea about this? About monitoring of audit. So there has to be a complete planning. That how work of different people will be organized, how things will be checked, what are the things has to be checked, to what extent it will be checked, who will be the auditing, who will be reviewing, where file is to be kept. Right. So it's a project. The entire project has to be done like this. Got it? Okay. After this, is it clear to you? Okay, is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So friends, thank you. So we'll take a break now. Then we'll be catching up after some time, maybe after 10-15 minutes. Just a minute. Okay. So thanks a lot. We are planning to catch up again. Thank you very much.